This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 23. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Midnight Drags. The power pop project of Lucas James has released their second record, entitled Bad Business. In today's episode, we talk about his songwriting technique, recording with an Iranian orchestra, and working with Stephen Curry on a children's record. Here we go. Our guest today is the frontman and mastermind behind Melbourne band Midnight Drags. The band, who sound like a mix of T-Rex, Cheap Trick and Eskimo Joe, have just released their second record, entitled Bad Business. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Lucas James of Midnight Drags. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
That's good to hear. Now, congratulations on the record, which is out now. It's entitled Bad Business.
Thank you.
It's the second full-length record from yourself, but it's the first under the Midnight Drags moniker. What was the catalyst between the change in between albums?
I think the first album seems like forever ago now. It was it was 2016 it came out. And that was kind of just me messing around on a laptop in my kind of spare room. So as cool as it was, and I'm really proud of that album. It was kind of me pressing every button and trying to play every instrument and trying to do a bit of everything and wear every hat kind of thing, which was great fun. But this time I kind of said to myself, look, next time I make an album, I want to work with a band and get together and rehearse and jam and play and figure stuff out and all that kind of stuff. And so that was really the main thing about this album, was just working with great musicians and kind of seeing how they would react and respond to my songs and kind of make them the best they could be. So it was a really good process, and I'm glad I got the chance to work with some fine musician folk.
You did have a bit of an all-star lineup, I guess, behind you or in the band, including Ash Naylor, who helped co-produce the album with you. What was it like having Ash, I guess, as a co-producer? If you're still wearing a few hats, you're still producing and playing, is it helpful to have that kind of, I guess, sounding board?
100%. Yeah, he was great. He's, not only musically knowledgeable, knows everything about every song, it seems. He's a great musician, fantastic musician, but a really good guy. He's just a really fantastic bloke. And to have him there to kind of help kind of guide the songs and shape the arrangements and sounds was it was fantastic. The album would be completely different if it had been just myself or working with anyone else, I imagine. So he was a joy to work with, and I'm lucky to have to have worked with him on this project. So no, fantastic to be able to work with him.
Of course. Is there any chance that we'll see yourself and Ash and some of the other guys out on the road touring the album at some point?
Look, I keep kind of saying to people, look, it's a studio band. It's not really a live thing. But, there's a big part of me that would love to get out and do it, play it live and play some shows. The only downside of working with such talented musos professional musos is that they're always out and about with other projects and other things, and Ash will be playing with Even or Paul Kelly or and Brett Wolfend and the drummers is playing with whoever. He's playing with a million people as well. So trying to kind of get everyone back together to get some shows in is going to be difficult, but it would be fun. So fingers crossed we can make that happen at some point.
No, that'd be very cool. Yeah, fair enough. I imagine it's kind of like trying to almost like a bit of a Rubik's Cube, trying to align everyone at the same time. So
even trying to get people together to rehearse, and record was difficult. I think it probably took almost 8 months, a year, just to kind of work out dates and things to rehearse and then record. It's not just like you can say, guys, let's jam next week. Yep, done. It's months kind of in planning and preparation and booking and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's all part of it, and that's fine. You want the best. You gotta wait. You gotta wait till your time is ready. So
that's very fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
With I guess planning for so long and then recording for so long as well, I know that some of the songs themselves took years to write. I guess once you've started a certain song or part of the project and it comes to an end after such a long, lengthy period of time, how do you know, like for yourself, what was that, I guess the knowledge of when a song had been finished or it had reached its final point?
As in me writing the song or working with the guys, do you mean?
Kind of like a combination, like from you sitting down and writing one of the songs years ago, and then until you've gotten to that point where you're like, the song is done, whether it's at the end of mixing or whatever it may be. For you, like, when is the song complete? I'm not sure if I'm making sense of that.
No, I get it. Yeah. I think for me, like, I write quick. I write pretty fast. When I'm kind of in the zone, I just, generally, I mean, there's exceptions, but generally when I write songs, it's pretty quickly. I'm inspired and things just happen quickly, and I've got the guitar and a pad and paper, and I'm kind of just little recording device, whether it's my phone or whatever. So I kind of know, and look, sometimes it might take hours on a good set in time. You write a song quickly in a couple of hours. Other times it might take a week or a little bit longer. But I know once I've kind of fleshed out the chords and hummed a melody and figured all that out, jotted down some lyrics, ran through it a few times, made a couple of adjustments on the words here and there or melody. That's it. It's done. Like I'm kind of, when I've written that song, it's essentially finished, whether that was, as I said, a couple of hours or a couple of weeks, sometimes a couple of months, even worse, a couple of years has happened before too, but generally it's pretty quick. So that's it for me. When I've kind of put the pen down and, turned off the little recorder on my phone, it's finished. So the next step then of kind of getting together and rehearsing and jamming and recording, that's more about kind of just fine-tuning the arrangement, the parts. The song is kind of already there. The bass is there. The chord progression's there. That doesn't really get changed. The melody doesn't really get changed. Lyrics, generally no. I mean, a word could change here or there while you're recording if something just doesn't feel right or you think you come up with something better, maybe. But generally, look, 99% of the time, once I've kind of, at the time of writing, it's done. When I've kind of decided that it's finished, it's all done then and there.
I think that's probably a good way to do it, instead of kind of not stewing over it, but having it kind of second guess over a longer period of time. It's good to be concise in that short time period.
100%. I'm going to excuse my little buddy. Yep. Just to say hello.
That's all good. I'm curious with your songwriting, because the album itself is quite upbeat and it's quite there's a bit of glam rock, there's a bit of like garage rock, there's a bit of fuzz, but the lyrical content itself is quite dark. It's quite hidden underneath some of the more upbeat musical aspects of the album, and it covers depression, incarceration, drugs, and a few other things. When you're sitting down to write these songs, do you kind of sit down with the intent or with the idea of, oh, this is going to be about that? Or is it that you write it and then later on it reveals itself to be about the subject matter, I guess?
Yeah, it's funny the way songs kind of evolve. I think generally musically I write kind of up-tempo stuff, like as in, I don't know, kind of melodic, generally quite melodic and I don't want to say catchy, but, kind of, melodic's the best word I kind of like to use with my stuff. So often it'll be a melody, I'll have start with some chords and just humming a melody and figuring out a bit of a tune that'll go over a certain progression. And often the words will be formed through the kind of the random melodies and kind of what do you call it? Just really what's the word? Not humming, but just kind of mouthing sounds. I'm just kind of trying to come up with something that sounds really good, and often from there a word will spring out that'll kind of kick off an idea, another idea, and the song will kind of the lyrics will kind of start from there. Other times, there will be an idea in my head that might be I haven't put to music yet, but it's just there, and then I'll be playing around with it, and then that idea that I had about a song or person or me will feel like it fits this melody or this feel. So there's no kind of one way I do it, but more often than not, it's kind of a melodic idea first that springs into some kind of lyric writing after that. Once I've got a feel for the tune, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes it's very hard to describe, actually, but hopefully that makes sense.
It's like describing lightning in a bottle. It's sometimes it is difficult to describe that kind of experience.
It is, and sorry if I don't make sense.
The most recent single, "It's True I Can't Stand Myself," it's a bit of a glam rock stomper, if you will. But it does, as we mentioned, that some of the lyrical content, it's a bit self-loathing. What was the idea behind this song?
This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
It took a lifetime to find the person you want to marry. Finding the perfect engagement ring is a lot easier. At BlueNile.com, you can find or design the ring you've always dreamed of with help from Blue Nile's jewelry experts who are on hand 24/7 to answer questions, and the ease and convenience of shopping online. For a limited time, get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com. That's $50 off with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com.
Again, see that one seems so quite a long time ago that I can't even remember how that started. If it was kind of the idea sprung from the melody, if it kind of was just playing around with melodic ideas and filling the gaps or putting words into those melodic ideas, or I might have even had the line, just the title, or I can't stand myself. That might have been in my head, and I kind of might have squeezed that into the melodies that I was putting together, I think, for that song. But again, that was a song that I think one of the older songs on the album, possibly 3 or 4 years ago, and like I've said to people, that just seems like a lifetime ago now. anything pre-2020 is just almost like, what was going on? So yeah, I think terrible answer, but I think it was probably just the phrase. I think just the phrase "I can't stand myself" probably morphed into the song after I've been playing around with the chord progression, I think.
Yeah, definitely. When you are recording songs like this in your own music, as I said, the record, it's there's like little touches of T-Rex and Cheap Trick. For yourself, listening to those kind of like classic rock records and having them as like, I guess, maybe like a touch point or an influence when you're recording, how do you, I guess, both play like a bit of like homage to those bands, but also keep it your own and put your own spin on it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I actually don't ever try to, I guess, write in a style or say I want to specifically sound like I want this to be kind of in this style or this to be. Maybe come mixing, I might have a bit more of an idea of an effect I might like on a guitar or a vocal or something that might harken back to a 70s power pop track or glam rock track or something. But yeah, I don't. I when I'm writing or even kind of recording, I'm not really thinking about emulating or even. I think it's all subconscious, I guess, is what I'm saying. It's if something's kind of come out in the way a song's written or put together, or a part's played, it's definitely a subconscious thing, which I'll always go for that rather than saying let's put in a T-Rex style section here or. I think it's all subconscious, and if it comes out and it sounds like that, cool. But I'd rather that way than kind of planning it in to sound that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. No. Yeah, no. That makes sense. As a side gig or like as your day job, you produce music. Am I right? Yeah.
I've got my own studio and record and produce and mix local artists and singer-songwriters and stuff. So, I love doing that. I love working with talented people and helping them work songs up, and I'll bring in musicians into their sessions. I'll bring Ash in for sessions or Wolfie to come in and play instruments on the artists I'm working with, which is great fun. So yeah, that's something I love doing, and we'll continue hopefully to do, regardless of me making music. I love helping people make their own too. So it's a big part of what I am now, which is fantastic.
Do you find that I guess the exposure of so many acts or so many artists to yourself helps, maybe not necessarily influence, but like inspire you in terms of your own music as well, where you can kind of not take little bits and pieces, but yeah, it helps drive you doing what you want to do?
Definitely. I think working with such a diverse, clientele. I mean, just last week I had an Iranian composer in the studio with his partner, and they write songs, these kind of amazing Persian songs, and he came in with these kind of backing tracks that he'd had an Iranian orchestra play that he'd written, and then his friend sang in Farsi to these beautiful songs, and it was just a moving experience. This was beautiful. I wasn't quite sure what they were saying, but musically and emotionally I was connected. And, and then, a week later I might have a rock band in playing, thrashy kind of metal, So, yeah, I'm influenced all the time by my, the people who come in and the music they're making. It's inspiring to hear what people are coming up with. Locally, it's fantastic. Melbourne's great in that sense. There's a lot of variety, which makes that job really interesting for me.
Yeah, I can. Well, I years and years ago, I used to live in Melbourne, and the music scene over there is just incredible. It's. I feel like any corner you kind of go around, as you said, you can go from Iranian orchestra to thrash metal to folk to whatever. It's all kind of
funk. There's a massive funk scene, which is really fun, and R&B, which is cool. Yeah, weird place.
Lucas, one of the things we usually discuss on our show is, I guess, records that our guests have loved or are currently loving. Is there, as a two-parter, I guess, is there one record or a few records that you're currently really digging at the moment? And then as a second part, was there any record that got you through lockdown or that kind of got you through the last year?
I'm just having a quick little check of my Spotify recent plays because there is a band. It's a band I've just found out about. It's a band called Rival Sons. They're a rock band, American rock band, and I've been listening to some of their stuff in the last couple of weeks, and it's fantastic. There's an album called Feral Roots, which they put out in 2019. I just had to look up the name, but they're great. It's kind of modern rock, but bluesy and almost kind of some Black Keys type vibes going on. So that's been really cool. What else? During lockdown, I mean, I've got a little record player and a decent record collection, so I just listened to a lot of old stuff during lockdown. Played daggy old jazz records for my family and made them listen to that, and told them why this was so good and this. Charlie Parker was amazing because, this and that. So, yeah, look, no, I love old music, love kind of old, big band as well, kind of 40s and 50s kind of stuff. But, yeah, I'm just trying to think what else. Apart from that Rival Sons, I can't really think of anything else that's really been floating my boat too much. Just...
Could we expect a possible big band or a jazz album from yourself at some point?
Good question. I'll say no, probably not. No, probably not. It would be. I like the idea, but geez, I found it hard to get 3 or 4 guys in the studio to work on my stuff. Imagine trying to get 15 or 20 trying to sort that out. It'd be plenty hard, but good question. Yes, good question. Be fun. Be a lot of fun.
I think a big band album, if you were to track it individually, I think that's probably too much work, too much of a brain.
Doing every part separately. Yeah, no, it'd have to be it'd have to be all in together. Squeeze them all in. But yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Well, look, who knows what the future holds? We could possibly see something like that. I know. Very quickly, I think you're also working on a children's album with Stephen Curry. Is that right? Yeah. So he's a good friend of mine, Stephen. We're actually in the studio today, finishing off some stuff. We got together. He had this idea for a children's story. He'd written this book, and a couple of years ago, and he said he liked the idea of making a song for one of the characters. So he said, "Oh, do you want to help me out?" So I said, "Oh, great, come to the studio and we'll work on something." And we wrote this song, and we had so much fun. We just didn't want to stop writing, so we just kept writing these kids songs that weren't related to the book. We said, let's just write some kids songs and see what happens. So we've got this bunch of probably about 10 or so kids tracks that we're kind of we're not sure what to do with, but they're sitting there ready to go in some way, shape or form. And then we had so much fun doing that. We said, let's actually just write some other songs, just some more adult orientated comedy type songs. So we've got probably 10 or so songs that we've written together for this more adult, comedy album. So yeah, we've had a lot of fun doing that. I'm not sure where it'll lead and what we're kind of doing with it, but we've had a laugh at the very least in these very silly songs. Hopefully we'll get to hear at some point. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens when both projects are kind of released and how they go. Lucas, thank you very much for your time today. I do appreciate yourself coming on the podcast, and congratulations again on the album.
Thanks, Simon. No problem. Great to chat to you, and take care.
And that's our show. Thank you again to Lucas James from Midnight Drags. The new record, Bad Business, is out now. We've included a link in the show notes to their Bandcamp where you can buy the record. We also want to give a quick shout out to Fiona at On The Map PR for helping out with today's interview. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where you'll be able to listen to all of our playlists. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday morning with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Until next week, cheers.
Never sleep hot again with Bowl and Branch's best-selling naturally cooling sheets. They feel super crisp and cool to the touch and are expertly designed for enhanced breathability so you don't overheat at night. Start getting your best night's sleep this summer with cooling sheets made with the highest quality materials. Try Bowl and Branch with a 30-night worry-free guarantee. Plus, get 15% off and free shipping on your first set of sheets at bowlandbranch.com with code BUTTERY. Exclusions apply. See site for details.